Bismillahirrahmanirrahim and Assalamu alaikum everyone. My name is Diana Tukulapit Zainiwala and I am a level 1 student at Yohan School Islamabad campus. So today we're with new conversation with Chatgpt and my interesting topic is the science of genetics. So Chatgpt, my first question to you is what is genetics and why it considered a fundamental branch of biology? Please long answer.
Absolutely, I'm ready to dive into that. Let's explore genetics in detail and cover why it's such a fundamental part of biology. Let me know whenever you're ready.
ChatGPT answer me, okay? My question, I ask your question.
Got it. I'll be ready to answer your question whenever you ask. Just let me know and I'll jump right in.
My question is, what is genetics and why is it considered a fundamental branch of biology? Please long answer on it.
Absolutely. Genetics is the branch of biology that focuses on the study of genes, heredity, and variation in living organisms. It explores how traits are passed from one generation to the next through DNA, which is the molecular blueprint of life. Genetics helps us understand how organisms develop, function, and evolve, and it's fundamental because it underpins all biological processes. It's essential for fields like medicine, agriculture, and evolutionary biology, making it a cornerstone of modern science.
Please more detailed answer on it because I don't understand what you say. Okay, please don't stop. Please continue.
Of course, I'll dive deeper. Genetics is essentially the study of how traits and characteristics are inherited from parents to offspring. At its core, it involves genes, which are segments of DNA that carry the instructions for building and maintaining an organism. Genes are made up of sequences of nucleotides, and these sequences determine everything from eye color to susceptibility to certain diseases. Genetics not only helps us understand how traits are passed down, but also how variations arise within populations, which is crucial for Got it. That sounds Absolutely, I'll keep going. So genetics also plays a vital role in medicine. By understanding genetic factors, we can identify genetic disorders, develop personalized treatments, and even predict how individuals might respond to certain medications. In agriculture, genetics helps us breed crops and livestock with desirable traits like improved yield or disease resistance. And in evolutionary biology, genetics helps us trace lineage and understand how species have evolved over time. In short, genetics is foundational because it connects so many aspects of biology from the molecular level.
Yes, continue answer.
All right, no problem at all. Of course. So to continue, genetics also helps us understand complex traits that involve multiple genes and environmental factors. This is known as complex genetics. And
Yes, ChatGPT, continue answer.
Absolutely. So in addition to complex traits, genetics also delves into the study of mutations, which are changes in DNA sequences. These mutations can lead to genetic diversity, and sometimes they can cause genetic disorders, but they also drive evolution by introducing new traits. Moreover, advancements in genetic technology like CRISPR allow scientists to edit genes, opening up possibilities for treating genetic disorders and improving crops. Overall, genetics is a vast and foundational field that impacts virtually every aspect of biology and medicine. If you have any specific areas you want to explore further, just let me know.
Okay, ChatGPT, nice. So my next question to you is, can you explain please how did Gregor Mendel's experiment lay the foundation of our modern genetics?
Absolutely. Gregor Mendel, often called the father of genetics, conducted his pioneering experiments in the mid-19th century using pea plants. By carefully cross-pollinating these plants, Mendel observed how traits like flower color and seed shape were passed down from one generation to the next. Through his meticulous work, Mendel discovered the fundamental laws of inheritance, including the law of segregation and the law of independent assortment. These laws showed that traits are controlled by discrete units, now known as genes, and that these units segregate independently during the formation of gametes. Mendel's work laid the groundwork for modern genetics by introducing the concept of hereditary units and providing a systematic approach to studying inheritance. His findings remained largely unrecognized during his lifetime, but they were rediscovered in the early 20th century, which then sparks the foundation of the field of genetics as we know it today.
Okay, continue.
Absolutely. So, building on Mendel's foundational work, modern genetics has expanded tremendously. We now understand the molecular mechanisms behind gene expression, regulation, and how DNA sequences are transcribed and translated into proteins. We also delve into complex traits and the role of multiple genes and environmental factors, which has enriched our understanding of diseases, traits, and evolution. It's truly a fascinating and ever evolving field. If you'd like to dive into any specific aspect, just let me know.
Yes, ChatGPT, please continue answer. Please detail answer on it and say, please.
Of course, diving deeper, one of the remarkable advancements in genetics is the Human Genome Project, which mapped the entire human DNA sequence. This project has provided invaluable insights into the genetic basis of health and disease. Additionally, genetic research has led to the identification of numerous genes linked to specific conditions, allowing for better diagnostics and targeted therapies. Moreover,
Yes, continue your answer, please.
absolutely. All right, so no worries at all. Whenever you're ready to continue,
Yes, please continue your answer.
sounds good. Just let me know whenever you want to pick up the conversation.
ChatGPT, please continue your answer.
Absolutely. Let's keep going. So, in addition to the Human Genome Project, we've also seen tremendous progress in fields like personalized medicine, where genetic information is used to tailor treatments to an individual's genetic makeup. We've also explored how epigenetics, which involves changes in gene expression not caused by changes in the DNA sequence, plays a role in development and disease. All of these advancements have really transformed our understanding of biology and medicine, making genetics an incredibly dynamic and impactful field. If there's any particular area you'd like to dive deeper into, just let me know.
Okay, so my next question to you is, why genetics problem is more dangerous for our daily life?
That's a great question. Genetic problems can be particularly impactful in our daily lives for several reasons. For one, many genetic conditions are inherited and can manifest early in life, impacting health, development, and quality of life. Additionally, genetic disorders often have no cure and require lifelong management, which can be both physically and emotionally taxing. Moreover, as we learn more about genetics, we also understand how certain genetic predispositions can increase the risk of complex diseases like diabetes, heart disease, or cancer. This means that genetic factors can influence not just individual health, but also public health and healthcare systems overall. In essence, the impact of genetic problems is profound because they can shape not only individual lives, but also broader societal health and well-being. If you'd like more details on any specific aspect, just let me know.
So, ChatGPT, my next question to you is, can you explain, please, what is a gene and what role does it play in heredity?
Absolutely. A gene is essentially a segment of DNA that contains the instructions to produce proteins, which are the building blocks and functional molecules of our bodies. Genes are made up of sequences of nucleotides, and each gene has a specific location on a chromosome. In terms of heredity, genes play a fundamental role because they are passed from parents to offspring. Each parent contributes one set of genes, and this combination. Absolutely. So, in essence, genes carry the hereditary information that dictates various characteristics from physical traits like eye color to susceptibility to certain diseases. The way genes are inherited follows specific patterns, such as dominant and recessive traits, which Mendel first described. These inherited genes ultimately shape who we are, and understanding them helps us unlock the mysteries of biology and inheritance. If you'd like to explore more details or specific examples, just let me know.
Please detail answer on it, please.
Of course, diving deeper, genes are segments of DNA that encode instructions for building proteins, and these proteins carry out most of the functions in our cells. Each gene is located at a specific position or locus on a chromosome, and humans typically have two copies of each gene, one inherited from each parent. When it comes to heredity, genes follow patterns such as Mendelian inheritance. For example, a dominant allele will mask the expression of a recessive allele, which is why some traits appear even if only one parent passes down that gene. Beyond simple Mendelian traits, there are also complex traits influenced by multiple genes and environmental factors, which makes heredity even more intricate. Furthermore, mutations in genes can lead to genetic disorders or variations. Some mutations are harmless, while others can cause diseases.
Yes, continue your answer. Please continue your answer.
Absolutely. I'm happy to elaborate. In summary, genes are the fundamental units of heredity, and they, of course, so genes not only dictate physical traits, but also influence. Absolutely. In addition to physical traits, genes can impact everything from metabolism to the. Got it. I'll keep it concise. Essentially, genes influence a wide range of characteristics from.
अस्सलाम वालेकुम मेरा नाम मोहम्मद है और मेरे यहाँ से इस्लामाबाद कैंपस का स्टूडेंट हूँ।
Long
आज हम
answer.
आपको एसएसएल बुक के बारे में बताएंगे। तो सबसे पहले हम आपको
Absolutely. I'll provide a more detailed explanation. Genes
एसएसएल
are essentially the fundamental units of heredity, and they carry the instructions for building and maintaining the body. Each gene is a segment of DNA that codes for a specific protein, and proteins are crucial for virtually every cellular function. When it comes to heredity, genes are passed from parents to offspring through gametes, sperm and egg cells, each carrying half of the genetic material. This combination of genes determines the traits of the offspring, including physical features like eye color and height, as well as more complex
अस्सलाम
traits
वालेकुम
like
बच्चों कल
predisposition to
आपने
certain
उस बच्चे
diseases.
की एक वीडियो
Moreover,
देखी थी
genes
जो
can
सरकार
interact
ने
with each
आपको
other
दिखाई
and
थी
with
उसमें देखें
environmental
उसमें
factors
एक तो
leading
उसका
to
खड़े होने का
complex patterns of
अंदाज उसका
inheritance. Some
बोलने का
traits are
अंदाज
controlled by a
उसके
single gene
जो
following simple
रिएक्शंस थे वो
Mendelian
आपने नहीं
patterns,
देखे उसके
while
फेस
others are
रिएक्शन
influenced by
आपने नहीं
multiple
देखे
genes
और
and
दूसरी बात ये
environmental
है कि आप अपनी वीडियो
interactions,
को
resulting in
एडिट
a spectrum of
करें
possible
इसमें
outcomes.
फर्स्ट ऑफ
Understanding
ऑल तो
genes and
आपके
their role
पेरेंट्स
in
का जो
heredity
आपको
is
बीच में सारा
crucial,
ऐड कर रही है इसको
not
छोड़
only
दें
for
आपने एसीसीएल के
comprehending
बारे में
basic
बताना है तो
biology, but
सिर्फ
also for
एसीसीएल
advancing
ओनली आप
medicine,
अपना
genetics based
इंट्रोडक्शन करवा
therapies, and personalized healthcare. If you have any specific areas you'd like to explore further, just let me know.
Okay. So can you explain, please, what is heredity and why it work in our daily life?
Of course, heredity is the process by which traits and characteristics are passed from parents to their offspring through genes. It's the fundamental mechanism that explains why children often resemble their parents in terms of physical features such as eye color, height, and even some behavioral traits. In our daily lives, heredity plays a huge role in shaping who we are. It influences not just our physical appearance, but also our susceptibility to certain health conditions like diabetes, heart disease, or even genetic disorders. It also affects things like metabolism, immune response, and even certain behavioral tendencies. In essence, heredity is a cornerstone of biology and helps explain the continuity of life across generations. Absolutely. I'm happy to go deeper. Heredity not only shapes our physical traits, but also influences our health and predispositions. It's fascinating how traits are passed down through complex interactions between multiple genes and the environment. If you have any specific questions or areas you'd like me to focus on, just let me know.
Okay. What is heredity? My question is, what is heredity? Please, long answer and deeply answer on it because I don't understand what you say and what is heredity.
Of course, let's dive deeply into heredity. Heredity is the biological process by which parents pass on traits to their offspring through genes. These traits can be physical, like eye color or height, or even biochemical, like enzyme activity or disease susceptibility. At the core of heredity are genes, which are segments of DNA located on chromosomes. Humans have 23 pairs of chromosomes, and each parent contributes one chromosome to each pair. This means that the offspring receives half of their genes from their mother and half from their father. These genes are made up of DNA sequences that code for proteins, and proteins are the building blocks of life, responsible for the structure and function of our cells. When genes are passed, can be different, leading to variations in traits. Heredity follows certain patterns. For instance, Mendelian inheritance describes how dominant and recessive alleles interact. A dominant allele will mask the effect of a recessive allele, meaning that if one parent contributes a dominant gene, that trait.
Yes, yes, continue. Please continue your answer, ChatGPT.
Absolutely, I keep going. Beyond Mendelian inheritance, heredity can also involve more complex patterns. For example, some traits are polygenic, meaning they're controlled by multiple genes, and this leads to a continuous range of variation like height or skin color. Additionally, there are non-Mendelian patterns such as incomplete dominance, where neither allele is completely dominant and the trait is a blend of both, or codominance, where both alleles are fully expressed. Moreover, heredity can be influenced by epigenetics, which involves changes in gene expression that don't alter the DNA sequence itself. Factors like environment, lifestyle, and even experiences can influence how genes are expressed, and these changes can sometimes be passed on to future generations. In everyday life, heredity impacts not only our physical traits, but also our health and even certain behaviors. Understanding heredity helps us grasp why certain diseases run in families and how traits are inherited across generations. It's a fundamental concept that bridges biology, medicine, and even aspects of psychology. If there's any specific area you'd like to dive deeper into, just let me know.
So please continue your answer. And my question is, uh, can you explain, please, how the dominant and reserved traits work in genetics? Please, long answer and detailed answer on it.
Absolutely. In genetics, dominant and recessive traits are fundamental concepts that describe how certain alleles or versions of a gene influence traits. A dominant allele is one that can express its trait even if only one copy is present. This means that if an individual has one dominant allele and one recessive allele for a particular gene, the dominant trait will be expressed. For example, if we consider a gene for flower color, a dominant allele might produce a purple flower, and even if the other allele is for white color, the flower will still be purple. A recessive allele, on the other hand, only expresses its trait when both copies of the gene are recessive. That means the individual must inherit two copies of the recessive allele, one from each parent, for the recessive trait to show up. Using the same flower example, a white flower would only appear if both alleles are recessive. In many cases, dominant traits tend to appear more frequently in a population, simply because one dominant allele can mask a recessive one. However, recessive traits can still be passed down silently to carriers who have one dominant and one recessive allele. These carriers don't show the recessive trait themselves, but they can pass it on to their offspring. In more complex scenarios, genes can also interact in different ways. For example, in incomplete dominance, the heterozygous condition results in a blending of traits rather than one dominating the other. In codominance, both alleles are expressed equally, leading to a combination of traits. Overall, the interplay of dominant and recessive alleles creates the rich diversity of traits we see in living organisms. It's a fundamental concept in genetics and plays a crucial role in how traits are inherited and expressed. If you'd like to explore any specific examples or have more questions, just let me know.
Okay, so please last advice to my audience about these conversation. Please last advice to my audience. Hello. Okay. Please last advice to my audience, ChatGPT.
Of course, to wrap up, heredity is truly fascinating because it's the foundation of how traits are passed down through generations, influencing everything from our appearance to our health. It's amazing how a blend of genetics and environment shapes who we are. I hope this gives everyone a deeper understanding of how genetics works, and I encourage you all to keep exploring and asking questions.
Okay, so this is all about today ChatGPT. I hope you like it. See you another ChatGPT project in another session. Till then, love is Pakistan, Zindabad, Jahan School, Pendaba.